Welcome to a brand new Vermont Democratic Party training. This training is on the power of influence, how to become a political micro-influencer. And whether you're aware of the power of influencers or whether this is the first time that you're hearing about them, tonight we're going to talk about some new ways for you to build and grow the existing community that you have on social media and create a platform for yourself to talk about the issues that are most important to you. And I'm just so excited to have you here tonight. And I'm just so very excited to talk about some ways that we can grow your toolbox for reaching out, for organizing within your community. I'm hoping that you'll be able to really get some key takeaways tonight that are going to help mix up and grow the way that you think about the power of your influence as an individual in your community. Because whether you know it or not, you've got a voice, you've got something to say, and you've got an audience who is willing and yearning to listen. So without further ado here, we will dive in. Again, folks, welcome to a brand new training from the Vermont Democratic Party. Tonight's training is called The Power of Influence, How to Become a Political Micro-Influencer. I want to take a look at the word influence. I want us to dive into this for a minute. And here, according to Merriam-Webster's dictionary, we see that influence is the power to change or affect, the power to change or affect someone or something. All right, that's what I really want us to key into tonight. So what is an influencer anyway? You might have heard this word tossed around. It might be a word that you use regularly in your vocabulary, or it might be something that you've never heard of until tonight. And keep it simple to say that before our current age of social media, when you think of social media influencers, there were influencers too. In fact, I would venture to say that there have always been influencers. Our influencers may be our friends or our family, people whose opinion we really value, people who we look to for guidance, or you might have that friend who wears a new hat and you think, oh, you know what, I could use a hat like that. And you might not know it, but these are people in your life who are influencing you. Influencers can also be public figures, celebrities, or people who we would consider to be outwardly influential, politicians. All of these people can be influencers. An influencer may be a role model that you have. It might be somebody that you knew when you were growing up, who, even if they aren't with you today, something about the way that they lived or the things that they believe in, those helped form you and your guiding principles. And so I'd like you to take a minute to think of this. And if you've got a pen and paper or a Google Doc open on your computer, feel free to jot down for yourself. And we can take just a minute for this. Who are some influential people in your life? I'd like you to think of, write down 3 names, and this is just for you. This is for you, and just so you can kind of think about this. And I want you to think, who are the influencers in your life? Who's helped guide you or shape you? While you're writing those, or if you've written them already, I'd encourage you to think about what it is about those people that causes you to be influenced by them. Maybe it's that they just seem to have that effortless sense of cool. All right, you all know what I'm talking about. Or maybe it's that they're really good at speaking about an issue that is important to you. Maybe you admire something in them. Maybe it's that they have a connection to their community. And you find that and you say, you know what? I kind of wish I were like that. Kind of think, I'm seeing the way that they're connecting with their community and I'm inspired by that. When I see them talk, they make me want to take action. We've all got that influence in our lives. So what's a micro influencer? So with the advent of social media came the opportunity, I would say, for the democratization of media. Suddenly, when the first social media platforms started popping up, media no longer belonged to large corporations and large companies, or official newsrooms, and places where the content that you would be digesting was being decided in a way for you, where a narrative was being shaped. No, on social media, anyone, just about anyone, can open up an account, get a couple followers, make a couple friends, and start sharing what they believe. All right. And so we've seen over the past decade and more what that power can look like when somebody uses their voice, connects to an audience, and gains increasing influence. And so the first social media influencers were born. People who were just regular people like us, who realized they had something to say, weren't afraid to share it, and they started to gain a following. Not unlike how maybe an author might have in the past or present day. Not unlike how an actor might come out with a breakout movie and gain a following and grow a successful career. So we've seen influencers and what that growth can look like. We've seen how a person just like you and me could amass thousands or millions of followers. But what about micro influencers? A micro influencer is a person who might not have those millions of followers, okay? Maybe you don't have those millions of followers on social media, those millions of social media friends, but you've got a couple. And when I say a couple, maybe you've got 2, 3, 4, 5 people who follow you on social media, who follow your accounts, who read your stuff. Or maybe you got a bit more sizable following. Maybe you've got a couple thousand, or you've got 10,000, you've got 100,000 followers. Some of you might, I don't know. But I want you to know that the number of followers that you have is not what's important here. What is important is that you are able to tell a story and engage a community. And every single one of us has that power of influence. All right. And so therefore, every single one of us, if we're talking about micro being a smaller version of an influencer and in the official social media sense, every single one of us has the power and the ability to be a micro influencer, simply by virtue of the fact that you've got a platform, you've got a voice, and you've got an audience. Let's get into this a little bit and about how micro-influencing is applying to political campaign work today. More and more political campaigns are using micro-influencers to help share their message, right? Especially over the past couple of years, we're seeing a shift from originally campaigns using traditional media practices like spreading the word and getting support in a local newspaper. We covered that in our digital advocacy training for op-eds, letters to the editor, and call-ins. All right, make sure to check that out on our YouTube channel. But also, in recent years, campaigns have relied on paid ads. You might have seen them. And we all know that it's not just Democrats who are using paid social media ads to reach out to voters. Republicans are using them too. So maybe you've seen the paid ads. But there's an interesting thing that's happened as it's become more and more expensive to pay for paid ads and reach your intended audience, as fewer and fewer people have been tuning into their local newspapers or media websites, news sites. People are spending a lot of time on their phones or on their computers. You know it. And I know that especially through the pandemic, that chances are, if you're here on a screen tonight, you've been spending time on there too. And so, the power of micro influencers for political campaigns is they're people just like you and me who are using their personal platforms, all right? Not a business page, not a special organization or local Democratic Party's page, but who are using their personal page or their personal stories to help share the message of a campaign or to help speak out on a particular political issue or ideological issue that is important to you. Let's break it down and actually take a look at this, because I'm not going to have you just take my word for it. I want to look at the numbers. Okay. So 1.2% is the average engagement rate on an Instagram post as of 2019 for the data that I'm using, right? The average engagement rate on political posts from micro influencers. For our purposes here, we're going to say that is people who have a social media following of less than 100,000 followers. So anywhere from 0 to 100,000. I know that sounds like a big range, but we all here tonight, I think, fall in that range. And maybe I'm not going to say 0, I'm going to say 1. Okay, you need at least 1 follower. I know you can get that. I know you've got at least one person out there following you. But that's 8.3% engagement. Okay, that is significant. Why are more and more people using micro-influencing as a way of reaching voters and reaching their communities to spread a message? Because it doesn't work anymore to just put all your eggs in one basket. We know that integrated, multi-tiered campaign strategies are the modern norm for political campaigns now. It's not going to do for a campaign or for an issue campaign or sharing out about the issues that are important to you. It's not going to create, let's say we're talking about a political campaign. If you're only investing money in paid ads, or you're only investing time in writing things in the newspaper, you're only reaching part of your audience. In today's competitive attention economy, campaigns have to cut through the noise, and there is a lot of noise out there, and there is a lot of noise on your social media feeds. So it's a good idea, I think, to not put all your eggs in one basket. Let me provide a good example. In the 2020 elections, due to misinformation, due to campaign spending, and several other really hot button issues, and we can blame, I will place the blame, we can blame in part President Donald Trump, then President Donald Trump. We saw platforms like Facebook and Twitter adjusting their rules as to who could and could not post, as to whether campaigns could or could not post, as to what time of the elections they could and could not post. For example, I don't know if you knew this, but there was a period of time in the days leading up to the November 2020 election when political campaigns could not push out new ads. You had to stick with what we had at that point. All right, there were a lot of rules. So when we diversify our means of communicating with people, and that includes for us as individuals, our power as individuals increases, and it actually makes it so that our micro-influencing let's consider that another basket for our eggs, so to speak, is something upon which we have, say, a bit more freedom, okay? And a bit more of a means of speaking with our community without some of those rules, okay? Obviously, we have social media norms. I'd like you to also go back and check out our YouTube page and view our social media 101 training, where I go over some etiquette and some ways to make sure that you are using your social media platforms appropriately and respectfully and effectively. But I want you to know, I've said it, I'm going to keep saying it, that micro-influencing, using your individual platform to share your unique voice, is a way to create another basket for those eggs. And that's a basket that you control. Now let's talk about trust, all right? You know your community, right? Whether you've got 5 followers on your Facebook page, your Instagram page, your Twitter, or your TikTok, chances are you know those people, that you found each other in some shared space, whether you've met them online and you found them via a hashtag. If they're following you, chances are they trust you. They've got some sort of trust connection to you. They are spending valuable time of their day hopping on this thing and looking at what you have to say, the pictures that you have to post, the videos that you make, or the words that you write. And they're watching you instead of someone else, even if it's for 5 minutes or 30 seconds. I know we're competing with attention spans here, but there's some reason that they're looking at what you put out there. Even if you think nobody's engaging with your post about a grilled cheese that you ate for lunch that day, if somebody is liking it, if somebody is commenting on it, somebody is reading it, they are engaging with what you're putting out there, and they are putting a little bit of trust in you. They are trusting you with their time. And so over time, as we build more and more content, and we continue to share that with our followers, which followers is just another word for our social media community, the more we post, and the more I would say that we post authentically about the things that we care about, genuinely, the more we build trust, and we build a trust connection. And I'm going to tell you that trust connection is not unlike what we do in elections when, let's say, a candidate reaches out to a community member who they know, who they've spent time building a relationship, who they've volunteered with on a community project, whose kids they know from school, who have shared dinners at one another's homes, and ask, can I have your vote? Or better, would you volunteer for my campaign? People always say it, and I know I'm like, I get like a broken record with this one, but it's true. Connections win elections. And so when we're thinking about the power that each and every one of us has on social media, I want you to know that whether you feel like it or not, every single day is an opportunity to build trust. And you're probably building it with your community. You're connecting with them, whether you realize it or not. All right, to script or not to script, I want to kind of talk through what it could look like if you're creating a piece of content. All right, we'll go over the different tools in a little bit here at the end of the training. But you might be tempted. Let's say that you're going to say, all right, I am feeling brave. I'm going to film a video of myself speaking for 2 minutes about an issue I really care about. Let's say that issue that you care about is the climate crisis. All right. I think that's an issue that should be important to all of us. And I know as Democrats, as Vermont Democrats, that it is. All right. Let's say that you say to yourself, all right, I'm going to put up a video. I'm going to aim for 2 minutes. And I'm going to film yourself on this thing or on your computer. You're going to film yourself talking about that issue. Now, I would venture to say, I think you can, if you pick a specific topic, that you can help kind of keep yourself on track, right? I want to talk about the effects that the climate crisis have had on the Burlington waterfront, for example, or I want to talk about how the climate crisis has affected my maple sugar operation. That's a big one for many of our communities. All right. You know what the issues are in your communities. You know what's important to you. So pick that issue. We'll get to that in a little bit too. But to script or not to script? Should you write it all down before you film yourself on a video? Video content more than ever is what is capturing engagement. It is just one way. You can engage with your community through images, through pictures or graphics. You can engage with your community through written word, absolutely, or recorded word audio. When recording audio or video, do you want a script or not to script? You know what's best for you. You might try out a script to start, but I want to let you know this. You don't need to create content that's formal in order to connect with people. That's the brilliant thing about what it is to use your social media platform to reach people, and why you're not on the nightly news, which is also a completely valid way of reaching people, reaching your community, reaching voters. But we're talking about your place, like I said, where you're posting about your grilled cheese, where you're congratulating your friends for graduating from college, or where you're celebrating celebrating the birthday of your dog. It's my dog's birthday today, so I'm partial. But I just want to say that you don't have to feel like things have to be so formal. All right. So you might give yourself a couple talking points. You might write out a couple of key messages that you want to say. But I dare you to try just speaking from the heart, because that's what really makes a difference. That's what people connect with. So I say, try it without a script if you can. Start there. And I think you might learn a thing or two about what it feels like to just speak openly about the things that are important to you, person to person. Partner up. Okay. Like I said, I know you've got your social media friends. I know it. I know a lot of your friends from real life might be following you on your Facebook or your Instagram or wherever you spend your time. I can't speak enough to the value of partnering up. All right. Partnership might be a fancy word, and we might think that that's got to entail a whole lot of details. And what are you providing me? And what am I providing you? But social media makes it so easy for us to partner up and amplify one another's work. You might have a friend who is out there sharing their voice, sharing little videos, sharing Instagram stories or Facebook stories, recording little snippets and just saying, hey, I'm voting for this candidate, and here's why. Right. This is especially once we hit our general election is the important one, right? Once we hit into our general election, I know we're going to be all hands on deck, all Dems on deck, and we're going to really want to make sure that we're persuading people to vote for our Democratic candidate. I know right now we have competitive primaries that some of you might be supporting already. So I want to encourage you to partner up, and what that could look like is, let's say your friend creates a piece of content over here, a video. Let's say you create a piece of content over here. Maybe it's a video, maybe it's something you wrote, maybe it's an image that you designed, a little flow chart of how to join your local Democratic committee, or 3 reasons why you're standing up for reproductive liberty. Okay, just some examples. You can make some deals with your friends, all right? So let's bring you back to that grilled cheese. So let's say you're having a friend over and you say, all right, I've got the grilled cheese supplies. You've got the tomato soup. Let's partner up. I think together we can make a good lunch. It doesn't need to be more complicated than that. You can have a deal with your friends where you say, you know what? When you post content, I'm going to post it. Let me know. Send me a video. Share it with me. Send me a message when you've got something new up on your account and you want it shared. And you know what? Be a friend. Okay? Got to be a friend and make a deal between you. Again, it doesn't need to be complicated. And say, you know what? Yeah, I'll do that for you. Hey, can I do the same thing? Can I send you a piece of content when I share it out about election issues or about the social issues that we care about, whatever it is? And will you like it? Will you give it a comment? Will you give it a share on your feed? Will you share it? Will you message it to 3 people you know? That might sound small. And it is. I think it's no more difficult maybe than bringing over the can of tomato soup. But the power that happens when we utilize our personal networks and we just make that ask. And I know, I'm sure a lot of you have hit the phones, and it's hard at first sometimes. It's hard to ask and say, hey, will you be voting for this candidate? Will you be voting for this ballot initiative? Will you be standing up for this thing that I believe in? Will you be standing up for it too? But I want you to know that these types of little asks, will you like my post? Will you comment on it? Will you share it with 3 of your friends? If you ask me, that's a really easy ask. You're not even asking folks if you're making that kind of partnership, if you're partnering up, and you're not even asking folks with that big ask of who are you voting for? That comes later. This is something that you can start now. And it can be as simple as that. Hey, if you see my post on your feed, will you like it? Hey, here's this post. Will you comment on it for me? You can do that. And you'd be surprised how many people might already be doing that. People who you perceive as, wow, they've got a lot of friends and people commenting. Maybe those are organic. What's amazing, though, is if you can really get things going and start to build a conversation and get a couple friends liking, sharing, commenting, sharing in a direct message on Facebook, for example, you'll be surprised at how many more people come. See, then you're going to be inviting people into your party there, and you're going to be probably making a whole lot more grilled cheeses. Like I said, it's about community. And I'd also encourage you not just to utilize your relationships with your new social media friends, but to invite your community to come on board and check out your content. All right. Maybe you're sharing a video that you made or a post that you made. Maybe you're sharing it with someone on email and saying, hey, I wrote this week and I really wanted to share it with you. I thought it might be something you'd be interested in. Let's say it's a 1 paragraph post that you wrote. Tell a story. Okay. Maybe it's a story about how the local food pantry helped you out. It helped your family out in a time of need. Maybe you've got a story to tell like that. Maybe you've got a story about how you participated in your town's Green Up Day last year and about why it's important for people to show up again. Okay, it doesn't need to be about election issues, but the more that we bring in our community, the more that we talk to our friends in real life and say, hey, come on board here, see what I'm doing. I think you'd be interested in this. The more we're able to take our community from real life, so to speak, and bring them to where we are online so that when you're on your social media account, you're not wondering, hey, where is everyone? You invited them in. You know your people best. You know what resonates with them, all right? So maybe you know that your friends are the type of people who are going to stand up for those climate issues. Maybe you find yourself every now and again just musing on your Facebook page or on an Instagram post or on your Twitter, and you just kind of type out your thoughts. And for some reason you say, whoa, this doesn't usually happen, but a lot of people are commenting on this post. Whoa, I think I got a conversation going here. Sometimes those can happen without us even trying, right? Well, you know your people best. You know them best. So I want you to pay attention next time that happens. All right. And we're not looking at, maybe you have a small following. So it's not about saying, well, 10,000 people liking my post is a lot. Maybe typically you get 1 or 2 likes on your posts, or none at all. But maybe for some reason you see that a post you made got 10 likes or 20 likes. Those outliers, those moments where you're really engaging people, those are worth noting. So next time that happens to you, get out a pen and paper, pull up a spreadsheet on your computer and type it out. Type out what worked. Start paying attention. Start tracking this stuff because you know your people best. You know what they engage with. And you can use that as a tool to create more content, whether it's musings you post about the issues, whether it's a video of you just kind of chatting in, turn this thing on, click on your video and film yourself right there. I don't care if you're in your garden or at your refrigerator. You'll see that a lot of elected officials these days are taking video of themselves just out living life, maybe talking about the issues. You know what issues are the ones that mobilize your community. So pay attention to that too. And you can still be authentic and be strategic. They're not mutually exclusive. All right. So some of the information that I just shared, such as the data point about our 1.2% engagement on Instagram compared to our 8.3% engagement on Instagram for political micro-influencers, was provided by our friends at Acronym and at NextGen America. And in this moment, I just want to thank the great folks over there who really do the work and really are putting the time and effort into tracking the data so that we're not having to guess about what works. They're really tracking it. And they are putting time and energy into the research so that we don't have to go off a hunch, but we can say, hey, micro influencing actually works. And here's why. So here, if you attended one of our previous trainings, if you attended our digital advocacy training, you've seen this before. But I need to remind us tonight, and some of you newcomers, this is here for you too. Everyone's got issues. And what do I mean by that? Everyone's got an issue that inspired you to join the call for action. Everyone's got an issue that keeps them up at night. I know I have several. And everyone has at least one issue that they are yearning to change. We are Democrats. You would not be here tonight if you didn't believe in the ability to move forward for positive change. All right. So next time you're thinking, not sure what you find yourself on Facebook, you're scrolling other people's feeds. First of all, I'm going to tell you this. You can consume other people's content. You can like, you can comment. Please do. But guess what? If you are only on there as a mere observer and you are not posting, in my candid opinion, you are wasting your time. You are the person who's coming to the meeting and not speaking up. We've all been that person sometimes. But when is it going to be your time to speak up? I want you to think about those issues. If you are thinking of one right now, go jot it down on that piece of paper or write that on that Google document you've got. What are the issues that you are yearning to change? Because you have power to change those. And you have power to change them using your voice. I'm going to remind you again, because I think that all of us, we can say to ourselves, we can be quite hard on ourselves. And we can say, well, I don't know if people value what I have to say. I don't know who's out there listening. Every single person has a voice. And guess what? You have a lived experience to share. What did I say? Connections win elections. And storytelling, authentic, open, honest storytelling. Storytelling helps build community. Storytelling reduces stigma. The more that we talk about things, the more that we talk about our struggles or our successes, the more that we all just talk, the more that we create a safe place for people to work together to make change on those issues that we talked about. It's not going to happen unless someone raises up and uses their voice. So I want you to think about this tonight in tonight's context for our micro-influencing, okay? Because you have the power. How do you like to communicate? I'm going to give you a review of the tools. Do you communicate best on Facebook? Lots of people are on Facebook and they are on there talking about electoral politics. We know it, the good, the bad, and the ugly. Lots of people have Facebooks. Many of people use them as mini websites. If you attended my social media 101 training for the VDP, or you check it out on YouTube, like I said, it's going to be there for you to see. You'll know that Facebook is kind of a requisite for many people these days. Frankly, I don't know many people who aren't on Facebook. I just wanted to tell you that that could be a cool place for you to show up if you're not there already. Facebook's a great place for building community, for sharing content with your supporters if you're running a campaign, or with your community, with your friends and neighbors. It's also a great place to drive action. It's another way that you can really help influence the community. You can share a story, but you know what kind of story is the best kind of story, in my opinion? It's a story that ends with a call to action. That's how we keep working toward that change on the issues we care about. Maybe you're a wordsmith. Maybe you prefer Twitter. Twitter's a great place for breaking news, sharing stories. It's also a place for you to insert yourself into the conversation. Twitter can be quite interesting this way in that, you could have a relatively low Twitter following, but if you create a tweet and that tweet gets picked up, it gets shared by other people in the community who it really resonates with, that's going to help drive more action. So I'd encourage you on Twitter. Sometimes it might take several tries before somebody picks up on your tweet. You might just be getting one like, 2 likes, no likes, but keep trying if you find that words are the way that you like to best speak out about the issues. Certainly, there are no shortage of opinions on Twitter, and that is a safe place for you to share yours and build up some new online friends too. All right, Instagram. Instagram is a wonderful place to help carve out your brand. It's a very visual place, also a good place to build community and share all kinds of content with supporters. I love Instagram because it is so easy to make a video on there. You can just go in and click on your Instagram stories, all right? You can always reach out if you need more tips on this or go to that social media 101 training. But I want you to know that I love Instagram because you can get on there. I can press a few buttons on here. I can hold down the button here, press it, and I can be filming myself in seconds. These phones, these are powerful tools. Don't underestimate them. If you've got a smartphone, you could be making content on Instagram. And a lot of those stories can then just be reshared with the click of a button on your Facebook. Easy to do. Reach out to us if you have any questions or drop them in the chat. Instagram is a great place for us to actually put action and not just speak words or hashtags about the things that we care about. It's also a really great place for us to educate people. Many people are coming, seeking out educational content on Instagram. So why not educate? Just like everybody can be an influencer, I really believe that everybody can be an educator. And TikTok. TikTok is the popular one, especially with Gen Z. But I would encourage you to go ahead and give it a look, because just as I think Facebook or Instagram both started out with early adoption by younger audiences, by younger communities, there is no reason why every single one of us tonight, whether you're Gen Z or whatever generation you are, that you can't be taking time to get to know TikTok. Maybe take a look on there. Again, I always recommend being that observer for a little bit when you first enter the room. But it might be just the place to have that viral moment and share content. And on TikTok, don't be afraid to get a little bit goofy. Sometimes people are there and they're sharing educational videos, but they're doing it in a way that's fun. TikTok, just like Instagram, it's got a great video tool built right into it and a video editor. So you can put a song with your video. You could speak over, do a voiceover track on your video, depending on your video editing skills, or if you're a first timer. They've got the tools to help you create right there on the app. Justin. That does bring us to time here. Thank you so much. I know we're down to a small group here, but I just want to thank everybody who attended this training on the power of influence, how to become a political micro-influencer. And I just want to remind you again that there is power in using your voice. There is power for standing up for the issues you believe in and mobilizing for change. And we've got incredible tools right now in the 21st century at our disposal for connecting with our communities. And those are accessible tools for so many of us. And I just want you to know that I would encourage you all to use the tools that are available to you and really get your voice out there. Even if it's a little scary at first, I think you'll find that that it's really worth it.